significant portion of Chesterfield's current budget shortfall is due to reductions in funding from the state. How would you support future state funding?
It's interesting that, and I'm sure this happens in other states as well, state legislators complain about unfunded mandates being imposed by the federal government, and then they turn around and impose unfunded mandates on county and municipal government. I don't like unfunded mandates, no matter where they come from or where they go to. So I would not support legislation that imposed a significant requirement on state and local governments that did not provide for funding, either from the state or additional funding options that the, and this would be still in my mind a cop-out, to give the local governments additional funding options under the Middel rule. Basically, I have to say I would just not support unfunded mandates.
If you frame that same question with the school system and education in mind, does that modify your responsibility?
Local school systems have to comply with state regulations and requirements. If the state is going to continue to impose those requirements, the state needs to fully fund the cost of meeting those requirements. It's disingenuous to proclaim an opposition to tax increases and then take steps that maybe some other legislative body, like a board of supervisors, make a tough choice of whether to increase taxes or decimate education or other crucial public services such as public safety.
Going back to another section of your first response, and it's one of our questions, would you support giving local school boards taxing authority?
There was a time when I thought that might be a good idea, but there's no way in the current environment that I would support that. And that is strictly I'm a product of my experiences with the Chesterfield County School Board. What I've experienced myself and what I've observed, no, I wouldn't give them taxing authority, sir.
You said at one time you
would have considered it because
under what circumstances?
The school board is, an elected school board is accountable to the people who elect them. But in fact, most of the people who vote in school board elections have kids in school. Most of the people who care about the outcome of the elections. But a tax would be imposed on everyone in the county. Now, I think the Board of Supervisors ought to make that judgment because the Board of Supervisors will consider, whether you agree with their decision or not, they'll consider the cost and benefits associated with all the budget line items in deciding which ones are in the greatest need of funding. A school board, even the best intentioned school board, only is concerned about funding schools.
Thank you. Is correct in bringing a lawsuit against the National Health Plan?
No. Well, I still have a minute and 45 seconds.
Mr. Moderator, question on this.
The health care issue with the State Attorney General.
There are a number of states who have joined together with a common legal theory on the constitutionality of portions of the healthcare law. The Attorney General has decided to pursue another my opinion on what I've read other constitutional scholars to have said, based on a constitutional theory that is outside the box, less likely to prevail. And I can only think that he's doing that for his own reasons, rather than because of a true concern about the constitutionality of the law. The other 30-odd states that have joined together don't seem to believe that's a useful theory to use.
Thank you, sir. John wanted me to remind everyone that we do have semi-index cards.
I know
So if you have questions and would like to write it down,
Index
just
cards.
hold your hand up.
I know she chose the color purple as
Latest quarterly unemployment statistics show that March 2010, Virginia unemployment is 7.6%, and Chesterfield 7.5%, both up about 1% from a year ago. What initiatives will you bring to the General Assembly to help small business create jobs?
that is both an incredibly important and very difficult question, because it's difficult for government to do anything in the short run that affects the cost structure, for instance, that small businesses face. And for whatever changes in the law they adopt that allow for those changes to have an impact. The legislative process takes a while, rushes to judgment almost invariably result in solutions that cause other significant problems. So what would we do? I don't know that there is a short-term solution. In the long term, making regulatory structure less opaque, make it more transparent, make it clear what's required, what is allowed, what is not allowed, be consistent in the application of those laws and regulations, and always be gathering information that will allow you to determine whether the cost and benefits of a particular regulation are in balance. They actually shouldn't be in balance. The benefits should exceed the cost. And that's an ongoing process, because the business environment changes, technology changes, the composition of the workforce changes. So you have to always be working at improving whatever solution you adopt. Short answer, better education of the workforce that allows the workforce to be adapted.
Thank you. Any pay for transportation improvement?
The transportation crisis is not necessarily one that's going to be solved purely by dollars, but this is probably the one area where tax or fee increase could very well end up being part of the mix. What the governor has proposed, both during his campaign and now, putting toll booths at the state borders and selling the ABC stores, provide parts of the dollars that are needed to solve the problem. A wide range of alternatives need to be considered. Building more roads cannot be the only strategy that's adopted. High-speed rail between cities and light rail carrying commuters within particular urban areas is something that should be seriously considered. Private-public partnerships, such as the one